Part 1. Never disappoint ever, the mindset that saves you. Disappointment is one of the quietest destroyers of human potential. It doesn't scream. It doesn't attack loudly. It whispers. It whispers when your hard work doesn't pay off. It whispers when people you trusted let you down. It whispers when life doesn't turn out the way you imagined. And if you listen to that whisper for too long, it slowly convinces you to stop trying. But here's the truth most people never tell you. Disappointment is not caused by failure. Disappointment is caused by expectations without preparation. Let that sink in. Why disappointment hurts so deeply? Disappointment hurts because it attacks hope. You don't feel disappointed when you expect nothing. You feel disappointed when you believed. You believed your effort would be noticed. You believed your love would be returned. You believed your plan would work. You believed life would be fair. And when reality doesn't match that belief, the pain feels personal. But life was never designed to protect your feelings. Life was designed to test your strength. Most people fail this test not because they are weak, but because they misunderstand the rules. The biggest lie about life. The biggest lie you were ever told is, if you do everything right, things will work out. That is not how life works. You can work hard and still fail. Be honest and still get betrayed. Be patient and still wait longer. Be kind and still be misunderstood. And when that happens, disappointment shows up and asks a dangerous question. What's the point of trying anymore? This is the moment where most people give up, not physically, but mentally. They still wake up. They still go to work. They still smile. But inside, they've quit. Why never disappoint ever is a power statement. When we say never disappoint ever, it doesn't mean you will never feel pain. It means you stop being emotionally dependent on outcomes. You stop tying your self-worth to results. You stop expecting life to follow your script. It means you adopt a mindset that says, no matter what happens, I will not allow this moment to break me. That mindset changes everything. The difference between strong people and broken people. Strong people feel disappointment. Broken people live in it. Strong people ask, what can I learn? What can I control? How do I move forward? Broken people ask, why me? What's wrong with me? Why does this always happen? The event is the same. The response is different. And your response determines your future. Expectation is the root of disappointment. Let's be brutally honest. Most disappointment comes from unrealistic expectations. Expecting people to think like you. Expecting effort to guarantee success. Expecting timing to match your patience. Expecting loyalty without testing it. You don't get disappointed because you tried. You get disappointed because you expected certainty in an uncertain world. The solution is not to stop trying. The solution is to stop attaching emotional guarantees to results. Detach without becoming cold. Some people hear this and think, so I should stop caring. No. Detachment is not coldness. Detachment is clarity. It means you give your best without begging for validation. You love without losing yourself. You work without needing applause. You trust without becoming blind. You do your part and let life do whatever it wants. That's power. Disappointment is a signal, not a sentence. Disappointment is not your enemy. It's a signal. It signals wrong expectations, wrong people, wrong timing, wrong methods. If you treat disappointment as a life sentence, you suffer. If you treat it as feedback, you grow. Every successful person you admire has faced crushing disappointment. Rejection. Failure. Humiliation. Betrayal. The difference? They didn't let disappointment rewrite their identity. Your worth is not negotiable. One of the most dangerous side effects of disappointment is self-doubt. You start thinking, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I don't deserve better. Maybe this is my limit. No. Your worth does not decrease because something didn't work. Rain doesn't mean the sky is broken. Failure doesn't mean you are. Never confuse an outcome with your value. A rule that will change your life. Memorize this rule. Never expect results. Expect resistance. If you expect resistance, you won't be shocked by failure. You won't be crushed by rejection. You won't be paralyzed by delay. You'll be prepared. And preparation kills disappointment. Part 2. Never disappoint ever. Stop depending emotionally. Disappointment doesn't come from what people do. It comes from what you needed them to be. That's a hard truth, but a freeing one. Most people are not hurt by betrayal, rejection, or failure alone. They're hurt because they built emotional dependency on something outside themselves. A person. An outcome. A dream. A timeline. And when that external thing collapses, they collapse with it. If you want to live by the rule never disappoint ever, this is the route you must pull out. What emotional dependency really is. Emotional dependency is when your inner peace is controlled by external approval or results. Examples. Your mood depends on how someone treats you. Your confidence depends on praise. Your happiness depends on success. Your self-respect depends on being chosen. It feels normal because everyone around you does it. But normal doesn't mean healthy. When you depend emotionally, you hand over control of your mental state to life, and life is unpredictable. That's why disappointment feels devastating. Why people disappoint you again and again. Let's be honest. People don't disappoint you because they are evil. They disappoint you because they have their own fears. They prioritize their own comfort. They act based on convenience. They change when incentives change. You expected consistency. Life delivers probability. The mistake isn't trusting. The mistake is expecting permanence from temporary humans. The silent trap of I would never do that. One of the most dangerous thoughts is, I would never treat someone like that. Good. But others are not you. Your values are not universal. Your loyalty is not standard. Your effort is not normal. When you project your morals onto others, disappointment is guaranteed. Maturity is understanding that. Not everyone loves deeply. Not everyone thinks long-term. Not everyone values integrity. And that's not your fault. How emotional independence is built. Emotional independence doesn't happen overnight. It's built through deliberate mental shifts. 1. Stop over-explaining yourself. People who explain too much are often seeking validation. They want to be understood. They want approval. They want reassurance. Strong people explain once. Then they let others think whatever they want. Your peace is not dependent on being understood. 2. Reduce your reaction time. Disappointment feeds on instant reactions. Anger. Sadness. Regret. Train yourself to pause. Not everything deserves an answer, an explanation, an emotional response. Silence is not weakness. Silence is control. 3. Stop making one thing your everything. This is critical. One person. One opportunity. One dream. When you concentrate all hope into one place, disappointment becomes catastrophic. Diversify your purpose. Multiple goals. Multiple skills. Multiple sources of meaning. When one door closes, your world doesn't end, it adjusts. Why self-respect protects you from disappointment. Disappointment hits hardest when self-respect is low. When you beg for attention, chase validation, accept disrespect, stay where you're not valued, you create emotional debt. And debt always comes with pain. Self-respect means walking away when needed, saying no without guilt, accepting loss without self-blame. When you respect yourself, disappointment loses its power. Detach from outcomes, commit to effort. This is one of the strongest mental models you can adopt. You control effort, discipline, integrity. You do not control timing, reactions, results. When you attach your happiness to effort, not outcome, you win every day. Even on bad days, you can say, I showed up. I gave my best. And that's enough. The strength of low expectations, high standards. This might sound contradictory, but it's not. Low expectations of others equals less disappointment. High standards for yourself equals continuous growth. You don't expect people to save you. You expect yourself to adapt. You don't expect life to be fair. You expect yourself to be resilient. That's real power. Disappointment is often a delayed gift. Most people only see disappointment as loss. But think back. The rejection that redirected you. The breakup that freed you. The failure that taught you. What disappointed you then may have protected you later. Life removes what you cling to, not to punish you, but to teach you independence. A rule for relationships and life. Remember this. Appreciate deeply. Depend lightly. Love people. Value opportunities. Enjoy moments. But never anchor your identity to them. When they stay, you're grateful. When they leave, you're grounded. Part 3. Never disappoint ever, rebuilding confidence after failure. Disappointment doesn't just hurt your feelings. It attacks your belief in yourself. After repeated failures, something dangerous happens. You stop trusting your own decisions. You hesitate. You overthink. You second-guess everything. Not because you're weak, but because disappointment has trained your brain to expect pain. This part is about breaking that cycle. Why confidence breaks after disappointment. Confidence isn't lost in one moment. It erodes gradually. Each disappointment leaves a small crack. The plan that failed. The promise that was broken. The effort that went unnoticed. Over time, those cracks form a belief. Maybe I'm not capable. That belief is the real enemy, not the failure. The truth about confident people. Confident people are not people who always succeed. They are people who recover quickly. They don't ask, why did this happen to me? They ask, what's my next move? Confidence is not certainty. Confidence is trusting yourself to adapt. Stop making failure personal. Here's a mistake most people make. They treat failure as a character flaw. But failure is usually a strategy problem, a timing issue, a knowledge gap, a mismatch of expectations. Failure says, this approach didn't work. It does not say, you are incapable. Separate who you are from what happened. Rebuild confidence through small wins. After disappointment, aiming big can feel overwhelming. So don't shrink the battlefield. Confidence returns through evidence, not motivation. Start with keeping promises to yourself. Completing small tasks. Showing up consistently. Each small win sends a message to your brain. I can be trusted again. That's how confidence rebuilds, quietly. Why discipline beats motivation. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is mechanical. When you're disappointed, motivation disappears. Discipline stays. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need to feel inspired. You just need to act. Action creates momentum. Momentum rebuilds belief. The power of emotional neutrality. Strong people don't live on emotional highs and lows. They operate from neutrality. They don't get too excited by success. They don't get destroyed by failure. Why? Because emotional extremes increase disappointment. Stay steady. Stay grounded. Calm is a superpower. Why comparing yourself destroys progress? After disappointment, comparison becomes toxic. You look at others succeeding faster, others being chosen, others living your dream, and you think, what am I doing wrong? Comparison ignores hidden struggles, different starting points, different costs. Your path is not behind. It's just different. Focus on your lane. Build an identity that failure can't touch. If your identity is, I am successful, failure breaks you. I am talented, rejection destroys you. Instead, build this identity. I am adaptable. Adaptable people don't fear disappointment. They expect it and adjust. When life changes direction, they change strategy. Confidence comes from self-trust. Ask yourself, do I do what I say I'll do? Do I respect my own boundaries? Do I recover after setbacks? Self-trust is the foundation of confidence. Not praise. Not validation. Just consistency. The inner dialogue that heals disappointment. Pay attention to how you talk to yourself. Weak inner dialogue. I always fail. Nothing works for me. I'm not enough. Strong inner dialogue. This didn't work. I will learn. This hurts. I'll recover. I'm not done yet. You are always listening to yourself. Choose words that strengthen you. When everything feels heavy, there will be days when progress is invisible. Energy is low. Faith feels thin. On those days, remember, you don't need to feel strong. You need to remain consistent. Even slow movement is movement. The rule that ends fear of disappointment. Live by this rule. I will not abandon myself to please outcomes. You won't. Quit because it's hard. Shrink because of rejection. Betray your values for approval. When you keep your self-respect intact, disappointment loses its sting. Part 4. Never disappoint ever, mental toughness under pressure. Pressure reveals who you really are. When things are easy, everyone feels confident. When life applies pressure, loss, delay, rejection, that's when disappointment tries to take control. Mental toughness is not about being emotionless. It's about remaining functional when emotions are loud. This part is about becoming unshakable. Why pressure makes most people collapse. Pressure creates uncertainty. Uncertainty creates fear. Fear triggers overthinking, emotional reactions, rash decisions, giving up too early. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they panic. Disappointment often begins with panic. Calm is a skill, not a personality trait. Some people seem naturally calm. They're not lucky. They're trained. Calmness is developed by exposure to difficulty, control of internal dialogue, detachment from immediate outcomes. You don't wait for calm. You practice it. The 90-second rule. Neuroscience shows emotional spikes last about 90 seconds. Anger, fear, disappointment. If you don't feed them with thoughts, they fade. Mental toughness means pause. Breathe. Don't react immediately. Most damage is done in the first reaction. Why strong people don't explain themselves under pressure. Under pressure, weak people talk more. They justify. They defend. They overcommunicate. Strong people observe. Decide. Act. Silence keeps your power intact. Not every situation needs a response. Turn pain into data. Pain becomes suffering when it's emotional. Pain becomes power when it's analytical. Ask, what went wrong? What can I adjust? What is in my control? This shifts you from victim mode to strategist mode. Strategists don't drown in disappointment. They extract value from it. The ability to stand alone. Mental toughness includes the ability to stand alone without emotional collapse. There will be times when no one understands you. No one supports you. No one claps. If your strength comes from applause, pressure will crush you. Build strength that doesn't need witnesses. Why you must get comfortable with discomfort. Growth feels uncomfortable. If you run from discomfort, you run from progress. Mental toughness is built when you do hard things daily. Stay when it's boring. Continue when it's lonely. Comfort creates weakness. Challenge creates resilience. The difference between control and acceptance. You can't control everything. But you can accept without surrendering. Acceptance is saying, this is the reality. Surrender is saying, I give up. Strong people accept reality, then act. Pressure tests your identity. Under pressure, your identity either expands or breaks. If your identity is, I must succeed, pressure breaks you. I must be liked, rejection destroys you. If your identity is, I show up no matter what, pressure strengthens you. Stop negotiating with weakness. Mental weakness loves negotiation. Just today, skip it. You deserve a break. Try again tomorrow. Mental toughness says, do it anyway. Not perfectly. Just consistently. The quiet confidence of prepared people. Preparation reduces disappointment. When you prepare, failure shocks you less. Pressure feels familiar. Uncertainty doesn't paralyze. Prepared people trust themselves. When life feels heavy, there will be moments when everything feels slow. Progress feels pointless. Motivation disappears. On those days, remember, mental toughness is staying when leaving feels easier. Part 5, Never disappoint ever, turn it into a lifestyle. Disappointment doesn't disappear because life gets easier. It disappears because you get stronger. By now, you understand something most people never do. Disappointment is not a life problem. It's a mindset problem. This final part is about living in a way where disappointment no longer controls your emotions, decisions, or future. Not sometimes. Not temporarily. Permanently. The core rule of a disappointment-free life. Memorize this. I will not allow outcomes to define my identity. Outcomes change. Identity must remain stable. If your identity depends on success, you fear failure. If your identity depends on people, you fear abandonment. If your identity depends on results, you fear delay. But if your identity is built on effort, discipline, values, adaptability, then disappointment has nowhere to land. Shift from hope to responsibility. Hope is emotional. Responsibility is powerful. Hope says, I wish things work out. Responsibility says, no matter what happens, I will respond intelligently. Responsible people don't feel helpless. And helplessness is where disappointment grows. Take responsibility for your reactions, your standards, your growth, your recovery. Not for everything, but for what's yours.